so great to finally see you guys. Thank you so much for joining me at this panel today. First things first, I would just like to jump right into the first question. We know that the history of the feminist movement prioritized the rights of white, cis, heterosexual, able-bodied women. So do you consider yourself a feminist? And if not, what do you identify as?
Did I go first? Can everyone hear me? Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Dee Poku. I'm so honored to be here. I feel like there's a, okay. I feel like there's a delay. Or is that me? Can you hear me? Okay. Anyway, I'll just speak because I'm not sure. So yes, I very much consider myself a feminist. It is, you know, woven into my DNA. And I think to explain why, I will use the Maya Angelou quote, I'm a feminist. I've been female for a long time now. It would be stupid not to be on my own side.
Would anyone else like to add to that?
Hi, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm Viviana Santiago. It's a huge pleasure to be here with you girls, and it's a pleasure because I can connect myself with you, and I can see that our history don't start now, because we can remember that women that was here before us. And when I see you, I can see the women who are here now and the next women. I'm a feminist, yeah. I'm a Black intersectional feminist, because I really realize that it's impossible. Don't be feminist if you are a woman, because it's about our woman lives. But also, I'm a Black woman, I'm a poor woman, I'm a single mom woman. So I think the Black feminism and with an intersectional approach can put on the table the issues that are in my life right now. And it's not a problem, because we are diverse like women. So we will have a lot of approaches in feminism too.
I love that you bring up the word intersectionality. It's very, very important to the movement that we're trying to express. I love that you also, you know, bring out your culture, the fact that you're a Black woman and a single mother. I think those are also two very important aspects of feminism, is recognizing everybody's different and everyone's cultures. So thank you so much for sharing that. Trisha, did you want to speak on that, if you consider yourself a feminist, and if not, why not?
Oh, of course. I think at this point, we shouldn't really be, you know, asking questions like, why are you a feminist? You should be asking someone, why aren't they? So the onus of having us explain our oppression that we've been subject to, the systematic violence our bodies have been subject to, not just biological women, but the LGBTQI community, gender non-conforming people. Of course, I think it's you know, we're in 2020. It's high time we move beyond justifying why we are feminists to pinning the tail of the donkey. That is calling out people who don't identify as one if they don't know, if they're not old enough to know, they're young enough to learn. I think now is the time we encourage people to learn, unlearn systematic oppressions, discrimination, violence, and ask how people can be better feminists, better allies to the gender equality movement.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that you did the perfect lead into our next question, which is the movement for gender equality cannot be about equality to white men because their status is rooted in the oppression of others. What do you think the goals for the movement should be?
Sorry, did you say equality for white men?
I said the movement for gender equality cannot be about equality to white men because their status is rooted in the oppression of others. And then what would you say the goals are?
Look, we often hear this conversation, right? Equity, equality, this, that. What I always say, having been in rooms with world leaders, with dignitaries from the highest of offices. I'll tell you this, everyone is had countries sign the Sustainable Development Goals, ratify it, right? But here's the thing. Every time you start talking about the inequality, the violence, the discrimination women, gender non-conforming people are subject to, those are the things they don't want to address, because that makes them uncomfortable. So the point that we need to focus on is highlighting the discrimination. I always say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. So we need to be in spaces where we are passing the mic to the most economically disfranchised, to the most marginalized, to the most discriminated against, and allow them to share their truth, their complete, unfiltered, unapologetic truth, regardless if it makes you uncomfortable to listen to. Because I always say, if listening to these stories makes you uncomfortable, imagine what the person's body is going through who's being subject to that violence. So we listen, we unlearn, we learn, and we keep holding our elected leaders accountable to do better. That's how I would answer your question.
Thank you so much. And I love that you prefaced learning and unlearning, because a lot of times we're taught feminism and the ideas of gender equality in the wrong way. And as society evolves, we definitely have to evolve with it. So thank you so much for answering that. I did want to direct the question to Viviana. I was wondering, how do you think personally we can do better as women to support other women, especially to center our women of color, our LGBTQ+ women, and our disabled women?
We live in this society when people socialize us to understand that women don't like women. I live here in Brazil, and it's a truth here that a woman cannot be friend for other women, because women are all the time fighting against each other. And I think the first step we need to have in our feminist movement is take care of each other, because we are women, and if it's possible that we are here, it's only because we are together. I think this idea that women are not friend each other is the most powerful weapon from the patriarchy, because it can keep us really far each other. So the first step is recognize that we really are powerful if we are together. Then we need to have that idea that, like women, we really are diverse. So I'm a black woman. So you are young. I was young some time ago, but we are women. It's the thing that connect us. And instead of seeing that, oh, it keep me away from you, what keep us connected? I think it's important, but it's not a problem that we are diverse. It's really beautiful, because we can see the life really from this point. So really have this open heart to diversity, to the open mind to the idea that we are really powerful if we are connected and take care of each other. Really embrace a sisterhood, because it's not, here in Brazil we have that word sororidade, which means that we are really more than a sisterhood. We are really connected because we are the same, we are one. And I think it's important. It's not only about black or colored women, but if we can see that like women, we are facing a lot of problems because we are women, we will connect each other. But black women, we need to recognize our power, and we need to put our issues on the table. And here in Brazil, it's not easy, because all the time people are talking, oh, but you are dividing the movement. No, Oh, it's not about woman. It's about woman. It's about be a woman. They go, oh, what do you mean? If I am saying that I'm a Black woman, I'm not saying that I'm not a woman. It's about racism when we think that because I'm saying I'm a Black woman, I'm not a human or I'm not a woman. So I think we need to address our issues and our racial issues, like Black or people or women of color, and we need to do it together, but without forget that we are women. It's not only about race, it's about our experience like women, because a Black man don't face the problems I face because I'm a single mom or because I can't walk on the streets at night. Do you mean? I think it's my idea, and we need to celebrate this diversity inside our group, our Black women movement.
Thank you so much for that. I definitely think that we need to celebrate our diversity and show that, you know, we advance over so many cultures. So I really appreciated that. And some things that I gained from what you said was sisterhood and unity, which are both extremely important. And I'm so glad that you touched on them. I also had a question for Dee. What do you think the role is for those who believe in gender equality, specifically in the movement for racial justice?
Sure. I think the important thing is that sometimes when we look at these issues, it feels unsurmountable. It feels like there's so much to do. It feels like, you know, that as individuals, we don't have enough, you know, impact. And I think that we have to understand that it's through all of our individual micro actions that we affect change at a sort of national level and at a global level. And so I think we have to recognize our individual power. I think that we have to see ourselves as united. We have to not sort of divide ourselves by gender or by race, or just really sort of recognize, you know, our sort of global humanity and our global connectedness, and see one another as sort of sisters in a fight for justice for all. And so by that, I mean that we can take individual actions at a micro level every day in our schools, in our colleges, in our communities, inside our homes. If you claim to be for me as a Black woman, and if you hear something in your home, if you hear something in your school that you think is wrong, then you are in a position to speak out. So it's not for me just about sort of performative activism. It's not just about marching on the streets. It's about what are you doing to be uncomfortable in your homes, in your communities, and then, you know, that's really what will sort of change everything on a broader level. So that's really what I would love to see.
Absolutely. You know, dealing with those microaggressions and those small situations that may not seem blatantly racist it's very important for us to address those. And I know that you mentioned the fight for, you know, equality in a more equitable world. And I also know from personal experience that can get very exhausting physically and emotionally sometimes. How do you and Trisha and Viviana, how do you guys take care of your mental health, and how do you find joy in the work that you do?
I'm not sure who the question was directed to first, sorry.
Anyone can answer it. It's just an open question. The question was, how do you take care of your mental health?
So look, you know, being in my line of work, I have heard everything, every abuse you could possibly be called. I have been called a whore, prostitute, every single thing. People have described in graphic detail exactly how they will rape me and brutalize my body. I live, you know, a high threat life. I can't do public events without security being present. I say all this not to paint a gory picture. I say all this to tell you the truth. This is what any person and any woman who dares to claim her agency and speak up for her rights is subject to. It's either threats online, offline, all of those things. How do I survive? I have a therapist on call. that I routinely speak to, as and when I suffer from, I have in the past suffered from PTSD, debilitating anxiety. When I needed, I was prescribed and got on, medication. I'm not advocating medication. What I'm saying is it's important to account for mental health as you would your physical health, because this work breaks you. It breaks you on a day-to-day basis. Second, figuring out some way that centers you. So having an identity beyond work, that's critical. This is a conversation I had with my therapist regularly, because we do such high intensive on-ground work that we often forget that you have an identity beyond that. So you take work very personally. It took me a long time to figure out what is my identity beyond work. So, for the simplest things like gardening, the soil in gardening, it has natural microbes that serve as natural antidepressants. So, forcing yourself to exercise, being as religious you are about the work you're doing, being equally religious about preserving your temple, your physical space. Also knowing when to draw a line. This was difficult for me. I had to be taught and told when to step away from my work, that there's nothing more you can do. Step away, it's breaking you, it's destroying you. So these things. And lastly, finding a solidarity group of people that will ask you how are you and truly mean it, who will check in on you, who will be there with you through the bad days, and and will cheer you on publicly, online, offline, because the threats we get is online. Just sliding into someone's DM and saying, hey, I'm there for you, is not enough. We need that online validation to counter the vicious pushback we get online. So be vocal about your support online so that others can see, and be deliberate and intentional about it. And remember that no one in this space, when they put on a smile and pretend that they have, excuse my language, their shit together, no one does. Everyone is drowning at some point or the other. It's only a matter of 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, figuring out what is it that drives you to get up. And cold showers. It's brilliant. When you're just having a terrible anxiety attack and you cannot move, there are days I can't move to get up and take a bath or brush my teeth. I force myself to get in the shower, have a cold shower. It's proven to help you deal with anxiety well. So figure out what, helps you get your shit together.
That's such great advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's a lot of times we forget to take care of ourselves in this time, and it can be very, very taxing work. Like you said, it can break you. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that. I do believe that we're out of time, but thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. It was wonderful to meet you. You all have a wonderful day.